Good morning, everyone. It's Heather here. It is Tuesday, June 8th. Who's ready for some tacos? All right, well, before we get to dinner, we have to deal with this whole market thing today. Look at here as the futures are pushing up. We had a really good, pretty decent day yesterday. It was very boring. The IWM really led the charge yesterday. The Dow fell back. It was pretty weak. But the SPY was lackluster, and the Qs were they were okay, nothing too exciting. But the IWM was very exciting, and late in the day we started to push back up. The indexes started to push up, and what is important about that? Typically, when the markets push up, we do see the VIX index kind of fall off, except when we're coming to new highs. When we come up to those new highs and look like we're about to make new highs, a lot of times the VIX index spikes a bit, not because the indexes are green, but because whenever you make new highs, there's a bit of volatility, there's a bit of fear, which is really what that is measuring. So as we were watching the indexes later in the day make that nice move to the top side, the VIX index didn't really budge. It stayed very low. And so I think that was a telling sign that today we are going to continue on. But we always want to watch we don't want to just assume that. We don't want to anticipate that. We want to participate with that move, because too often what happens is people will jump in with a bunch of stuff and then you don't get the follow through right when you think you want it or need it. So this morning we are seeing a bit more of that follow through. We will see a new high. Given if we open where we are right now, we will have a new high in the SPY, and we'll be continuing on, right? The market is really strong, even though there's these undercurrents of inflation, debt, infrastructure bills, taxes, global tax. That's so not going to happen. But all of these things kind of weigh on our indexes, and the market is saying, you know what, where else are you going to put your money? That's something I really think that is true. People have money right now. It sounds kind of crazy, but our savings rate during the pandemic has been much higher than it has been in recent history, and people need some place to park that in the markets or at Lowe's or Home Depot, because a lot of people are doing renovations too. But anyway, all of these things should kind of wrap up into here we are pushing again to new highs and seeing some follow through. Okay, so a few charts I want to talk about. Yesterday we watched Apple. They had their investor conference. They were heavily invested in privacy across all their platforms, in the iOS that they're pushing out. Everything was really focused on privacy, and I think that is very telling of where we are today technology-wise, because if you watch the news, you see ransomware being installed in big companies. You remember the pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, the meatpacking plant. So these things are really a big deal. And the fact that technology is coming out, like Apple coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to protect our users as much as possible, is really a good thing. Now, just remember that it's big tech that's protecting you from big tech. So, you kind of got to take it with I don't want to say a grain of salt. They're doing a great job, but you just have to remember that all that information, once it's out there, it's always out there. Okay, so Apple here, I really liked this yesterday. It was pretty weak during the conference. It was after the conference that it started to move to the top side, and we pulled the 3 up over the 8. We're over the 20, and this morning we will see the continuation of that, which is nice to see. Apple has been weaker among the FANG stocks and the tech stocks this morning. It went up and tapped its monthly pivot right now, and it's sitting just shy of that now. That monthly pivot is sitting at 127. Right now, Apple's sitting at 126.83. And what I would look for a play here is up over this point of control, which would give us about 127.20 for a move to the 50. So that's about $1 in there. Once we clear that 50, we really clear out a lot of resistance, and that's really where I like Apple a bit better. So I'm going to go through a few charts that we looked at yesterday later in the day, and then a few that I like here also for today. LMND, lemonade. Like the look of lemonade coming up over this point of control. We've put in a nice little, consolidate here for a few days and looking for the continued move up. Look at all of the, we clear out so much volume resistance in this great big gap here. Like the look of that. So take a look at lemonade. Now I have to push these out to see any that are worthwhile right now, but we may see more volume come into some shorter term ones. But right now, the September 17th lemonade 100s is where I will be watching. Snow is no longer yellow snow. Look at this beautiful move. We have the 20 getting ready to curl up over the 50. The 3 is staying up and away from the 8, even though we kind of bring it back a little bit. Look at, again, another area, big old gap in here, showing that there's not a lot of resistance from buyers. Big room in here, really. I think our first stop here maybe around 266, 266.20 before heading on up to that fib line. I like snow. The 7/16s, 260s is where I would start out and watch. Chewy. Not just because I have a big old Chewy box downstairs, but like Chewy, they are coming into earnings. This would be a short play. A move over the 200 and over the 80 mark here is actually what I like. So probably like an 80, 25, 80, 30 entry would be what I would be looking for. The 7/16 80s, keeping that right there in the money because we do have extra volatility with earnings coming up. But a nice little catalyst there maybe for just an overnight trade. Yeah, we're making bets again. Look at this. So DraftKings came right up into this volume here, just shy of the 50. Like DraftKings for continuation, we built in some volume after really decreasing for a few days as we consolidated here. Nice push up in DraftKings. I would be looking for the 7/16 55s. Played CRM last week. Really beautiful chart here, pushing back up through the 200. And so we had the big gap post earnings, right? Came back in, filled those gaps, only back to the 8 and then started pushing back up. Came up really nicely through the 200 on Friday. Yesterday had a higher opening and a higher close. We like the look of that. In CRM, I would look at the 7/16 240s for continuation on today. Airbnb, taking a little rest here at Airbnb. Check it out so you can see the level here. We've really smacked our heads on the ceiling. If we clear out that ceiling, I like it over 150, 170 for a move to the 50. The 7/16 150s on those. Watch for some increasing volume as well. eBay. Well, last week, I think it was maybe Edie who pointed out eBay. I don't remember, but we talked a bit about eBay, and look at it continuing on. So we are pretty extended. Yesterday, we put in a little bit more of an indecisive candle, but for a breakout play here through that 65.89, I would keep an eye on eBay, even if it was just a day trade. I think if we make that breakout, it would give a nice little maybe 10-15% here today. Keep an eye on the 65 and the 70s there. I would in July, sorry, the July 65 or 70s. A few others that I like. Facebook, when we watched yesterday, really nice. We came, Facebook has moved up really strong in the tech sector. Consolidated for a few days, came back tagged up with the 8. Pushed on beautifully, and it's continuing today. And look at the volume that continued as we put in that new high in Facebook. A couple others I didn't find options I like on these. Fastly, not moving so fast here, right? Small candles just kind of creeping up. Then yesterday we were Fastly. We moved pretty fast on this one. This is really nice. We have little resistance up to that 50, so keep an eye on Fastly. Microsoft, a lot of the tech moving really nicely today. Microsoft confirmed its 38 cross yesterday. We used the 50 to kind of jump up. We are clear of a lot of volume, and we have a gap sitting up here that will begin at 256.54. So looking for a move to the gap and then through the gap. So the two potential plays sitting in there. Apps, like the look of apps, anything over the 50. Nice, built a little bit of volume in here. And again, these candles really nice and orderly in this chart. Smith and Wesson, yep, Edie Edie and her Smith & Wesson, I swear. This has earnings coming up, so perhaps a bit of a catalyst. We've seen a lot of decent moves in the gun and ammunition side of things. You can see the little bit of a ceiling that we have right here. Clearing that up, we want to move up above yesterday's high for continuation here. I like the look of that after this one-day little break into those earnings. And we're watching it just for the articles. That's the only reason we're looking at Playboy here. All right, 3-8 cross up over the 20. We've been hanging around this point of control for a little bit, and now finally made that move, built in a lot of volume here. I like this over yesterday's close, so anything over 52.09 or 52.10 for a continuation there. Plenty of room up to that 63 without a lot of resistance ahead. Okay, that is it for me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, reach out, heatherc@givingtreetrading.com, or hit me up in the chat room, send me a private message. I will talk to you soon.